if you're considering a river cruise with Avalon Waterways. This video will walk you through exactly what to expect, from the ships and rooms, to the food and excursions, and things you'll want to know before going. If you're new here, my wife and I are travel agents for Avalon Waterways. And today I'm walking you through what to expect when booking a European river cruise. First, it's important to understand how river cruising is different from ocean cruising. Ships are much smaller. An Avalon ship maxes out at 166 passengers, which makes for a much quieter experience than the several thousand passengers on an ocean cruise. Like ocean cruising, however, one of the main selling features for a river cruise is the ability to unpack once for your entire trip. The locations you stop in are completely different as well. In Europe, there are 7 main routes. By far the most popular routes are the Danube and the Rhine. The Danube is dominated by large capital cities, and most cruises run between Budapest and southern Germany. Prague is usually available as a land extension. The Rhine travels between Amsterdam and Basel. It's known for castles, vineyards, and the Rhine Gorge. The Mosel River in Luxembourg can also be combined with the Rhine, and Lake Como is the most common extension. Both the Danube and Rhine are usually a week long. However, by adding the main river, you can extend your trip to 2 weeks. The longest route in this part of Europe is 25 days, and travels from Amsterdam all the way to Bucharest in Romania. To the west there are also 3 rivers in France. In the north is the Seine, which starts in Paris and travels to Normandy. It passes through areas that are renowned for art and history, with stops tied to artists like Monet and Van Gogh, as well as key moments in history, including the story of Joan of Arc, and ending in Normandy, site of the D-Day landings. The extension for the Seine is Mont Saint-Michel. In the southeast is the Rhone Valley. Rhone River cruises explore southern France, focusing on wine regions, historic towns, and a warm, sunny climate. The largest city on this trip is Lyon, commonly referred to as the culinary capital of France. The extension for the Rhone Valley is the French Riviera. Most Avalon cruises on the Seine or Rhone Valley are 8 days. However, you can book trips up to 20 days by combining both rivers and adding extensions in London and the French Riviera. And to the west we have Bordeaux. Bordeaux river cruises travel through one of France's most iconic wine regions. Fun fact, if you conduct a text search on the itinerary for Bordeaux, you get 24 results. Of all the major rivers, Bordeaux is known for being peaceful and quiet. River cruises in Bordeaux are 8 days, with extensions available in Paris. Bordeaux can also be combined with the Seine for a 2-week trip. And finally, we arrive at the Douro Valley. The Douro offers a different kind of river cruise. The river itself travels through Portugal's wine country, and is narrow and winding compared to other rivers. Because of this, ships are built smaller by design. Ships on the Douro only hold 102 passengers, versus the 166 on other rivers. Cruises last 8 days, and you can include extensions in both Lisbon and Madeira. By far the most popular rivers are the Danube and the Rhine. Up to 75% of all passengers choose one of these 2 rivers. This number is even higher with first-time river cruisers. And it would be my recommendation for first-time cruisers as well. But I'd also add the Seine to the list. It offers the best flight options as you fly into and out of Paris. And it's a solid tour combining wine, history, and art. After choosing the river, the only other choice you need to make is your room. The most popular choice is the Panorama Suite, which makes up 80% of all rooms. This is Avalon's signature room, which is 200 square feet with wall-to-wall windows that open into a balcony. And the beds are positioned to face the view. There's also a small seating area at the end of the bed. For an upgraded experience, there's the 300 square foot Royal Suite. The biggest difference with the Royal Suite is that there's a separate area for seating and entertainment. As well, the bathroom is split into 2 rooms. One thing to keep in mind is that there's only 2 Royal Suites per ship, and they're usually the first to sell out. Also, there's none on the Douro Valley due to the smaller size of the ship. And then there are the deluxe staterooms, which are 172 square feet. These are located on the lower deck and have smaller windows that don't open, but they still offer the same access to all the ship's facilities. My personal choice would almost always be the Panorama Suite. which tends to hit the best balance between space, comfort, and value. I would consider the Royal Suite if you're traveling with others, or if you're on a longer journey. And I would consider the Deluxe Stateroom if you're trying to keep your costs down, or if you plan on spending most of your time out of the room. The Deluxe Stateroom is also a smart choice if you're traveling during the Christmas season, since most of the time that you're actually sailing is at night. Boarding is very straightforward, just like checking into a hotel. Once you arrive, your luggage is taken care of and you're checked in quickly. Cabins are typically guaranteed to be ready by 3 p.m., but plenty of guests arrive in the morning and enjoy the ship while waiting. On our last trip, we arrived before noon, and our room was already available. Plus, lunch was provided in the Panorama Lounge. Meals are included and served in either buffet or a la carte formats. Breakfast and lunch are offered in buffet options, while dinner is usually a sit-down service. All 3 meals are served in the dining room, but there's also a small buffet served in the lounge for all 3 meals if you prefer. There's no assigned seating in the dining room, and most people dress fairly casually. There will typically be one night on the ship where there's a more formal dinner, but dressing up isn't mandatory. Alcohol is included during lunch and dinner, and you also get a free drink during happy hour, which is right before dinner. The bar is open after dinner, but you have to pay for drinks at this time. Drink prices are fairly standard and can be charged to your room. Pro tip: order a drink with dessert if you plan on heading upstairs. You can take your drink from the dining room to the lounge. This is a smart way to keep your room charges down. Each day follows a fairly relaxed structure. During the day, there's usually an excursion with free time available on board. After dinner, there's typically something happening in the bar. Music, a performer, or a game are fairly common. Daily schedules are available on the app, and there's also a printed copy at the front desk. The most common excursions are what are called classic tours, which is essentially a historical walking tour. There are also active and discovery cruises, which add both an active and discovery tour to many days. An active excursion is just as it sounds. This is an active tour that could be considered mild to moderate exercise. This would be something like canoeing on the river, or a guided bike tour, or joining a hike to visit Count Dracula's prison tower, which is an active excursion on the Danube. Discovery excursions are meant to immerse you in the culture. This would be cooking classes, painting workshops, or wine tastings at a vineyard. Active and discovery cruises are available on the Danube, Rhine, Seine, and Rhone rivers. There are other specialty cruises available throughout the year, such as food cruises, beer cruises, music cruises, wine cruises, and Christmas market cruises. And some very specific ones like a jazz lovers cruise that travels during the Vienna Jazz Festival, or a history cruise that travels from Paris to Normandy every June, around the anniversary of D-Day. One thing to keep in mind, the more specific the tour, the earlier you need to book. When it comes to staying connected, Avalon includes complimentary Starlink Wi-Fi on its European ships, which means you'll have a fast and reliable connection, strong enough for things like checking email, scrolling social media, or messaging family back home. Pretty much every trip has an optional excursion. They will usually become available to book 90 days before embarkation. You can book as many or as few as you like. I would recommend booking anything that involves food and drinks, and certain locations like Versailles. And if you're in Vienna and it's an option, go to the concert. It made for a memorable Saturday night. There is an option to have laundry done, but there are no self-serve machines. Prices are similar to what you'd expect at a hotel. I've personally never used it. Most cruises are typically around a week long, so it's never been an issue. I could see it being useful on some of the longer journeys. Another difference from ocean cruising is you can bring your own snacks and alcohol on board. Fresh water and coffee are available at all times, free of charge, in self-serve stations. And that includes sparkling water as well. You can add 3 nights to the beginning or end of your trip during the booking process. At a minimum, I'd recommend arriving at least a day in advance. This will give you some buffer time in case there's a flight delay. Booking one night at the end is also a good idea, if you have the time. I've seen guests have to meet a taxi at 3 a.m. on their last day, which will definitely ruin your last night. Also consider where you're starting or finishing your cruise. Adding a few days in a city like Paris, Amsterdam, or Budapest is definitely worth it. When you're visiting Amsterdam, make sure to explore the red light district, famous for its abundance of red lights. You can book airfare through Avalon, but it's not mandatory. I'd always recommend getting a quote at least. You may think that it's more expensive, but that's not always the case. There are sales during the year where airfare is either free or heavily discounted. I'm writing this script in April 2026, and there's currently a promotion for free airfare running until June 30th. If you're flexible on dates, this can be a great way to save money. Another thing to consider is that by booking airfare through Avalon, you'll get free private transfer to and from the airport. My lovely wife and myself are travel agents for Avalon, and we'd love to help you through the process. Contact us at any time through this video. Make sure to click the link below for a free guide. It includes everything you need to know about taking an Avalon river cruise, with even more details, including packing lists and tips for summer and winter. River cruising is a different kind of travel, the kind where the journey feels just as important as the destination. I hope to see you on board someday. Until that time, keep exploring.